If you're someone who's pretty or socially deemed attractive, even if you're attractive in the slightest degree, you need to learn how to be a bitch, and let me explain why. If you're wondering, oh, how do I know if I'm pretty, or how do I know if I'm attractive? I'll answer that by telling you how I know I'm pretty. First way I know is by how people react when I walk into a room. Like seeing the reaction on their face when they see me, that's how I know. I also have a mirror at home and I have eyes. Like I know what the fuck I see. I also get compliments from men, women, and I also sometimes get it from children. If you can relate or if you can identify with this, then this is for you. The first reason why you need to be a bitch is because you are going to be a beacon of trigger for everybody. Okay, not everybody, but for most people. The reason for that is you are a physical representation of someone they wish they could be, sadly. Think of yourself like a mirror to them. You're going to be constantly reminding them of everything they don't like about themselves, especially things they don't like about themselves physically. And because you trigger them, it doesn't matter if you're kind, it doesn't matter if you're a good person. They are gonna find reasons to hate you. This is where you really have to do the work to get to know yourself and know who you are, because they are gonna be picking at everything. For example, your character. Even if you think you're doing right by people, they're gonna find something wrong with the things you do. You're gonna be held to like a very, very high standard, a standard that they don't even hold upon themselves, mind you. So when you make like minor mistakes or very human mistakes, that just goes over their head. This is gonna feel unfair because it is. And if this was happening to any normal person, what they would wanna do is bring it up to them, right? And want to work it out. But if you are someone who is pretty or attractive, I do not recommend doing that because you are not a normal person. What I mean by that is you are not a normal person to them. Bringing that up to them is just gonna add fuel for them to further damage your reputation, because trust me, they're already damaging your reputation behind your back. You're gonna need to make people uncomfortable with treating you this way. And I'm not saying be violent. I'm not saying you need to shout at them. But I'm saying you need to come off as someone that doesn't take that. When you're someone who is pretty, you need to have like a level of bitchiness to you so that people can respect you. So remaining kind and remaining a good person is actually not helping you. The second reason why you need to be a bitch is in society, there's always this hierarchy. And when it comes to you, they want to knock you down a few pegs. If you are someone who's humble and looks don't really matter to you, you treat everybody around you as equal and you don't place yourself on a pedestal, you don't have to place yourself on a pedestal. They'll put you there. Even though in their mind, they're the one that's putting you up on this pedestal, they're still not going to like you for it because they can't help but put you up there, because this is the way society has conditioned us, because that is the society that we live in. We live in a society where beauty is currency. The more healthy and beautiful you are, the higher up the social hierarchy you are. Even if you tell yourself that you don't want to play into this and you don't want to participate in that type of negativity, you're going to keep running into the same problem, because it's human nature for people to play these power dynamics. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So you might as well learn to protect yourself. And this is not to tell you to be a bitch just to be a bitch. This will actually help you in your social interactions a lot more. You'll find that if you have some level of bitchiness to you, your friendships are a lot better too. People will also treat you better because, again, these power dynamics. I could talk about this all day, and there's actually way more into this subject. It just goes way more deeper, but I wanted to focus on those main two reasons, and hopefully this helps you out there. Hopefully it stops the confusion for you, because it can be hard. Just know that you can still be yourself. You can still be the loving, good person that you are. You just have to be picky with who. I hope this helps.
I know this is going to be a really hard listen, but people respect you differently depending on.
Pretty privilege has downsides, and there are a lot of people who will disagree with this simply because they are only seeing the positives of pretty privilege. But most of the time, when a woman reaps the rewards of pretty privilege, she also reaps the consequences, which it's crazy that society treats us a certain type of way based on the way they look, but they do. Like this creator said, some people will treat you worse because they simply think you're pretty, or society deems you as so. And it's such a weird concept to wrap your head around because we grew up being taught that the more beautiful you are, the more popular you are, the better positive attention you get, which can be true in some cases, but there are other cases where this is not the case. But I believe that one thing we failed to realize when we were consuming this media, we failed to see that usually the prettiest and most popular girl was treated the most poorly by her female counterparts. And that is the downside of pretty privilege. Beauty and looks is not everything. That's why I say being a pretty girl is being the whole package. It's not just a face, it's not just society's standard of beauty. So when people start to realize that pretty privilege is not much of a privilege as it's sought out to be, the conversation will shift and the more important things will be highlighted. It would be foolish to only highlight the ups rather than also the downs. So when you're analyzing pretty privilege, keep that in mind. I love you guys. Stay pretty.
As a pretty girl, it's so frustrating for people to think that life is just all sunshine and rainbows, when in actuality, we go through it the worst. People think we got all these friends, we got niggas, we got options, we always invited to the parties, when that is literally the furthest thing from the fucking truth. For one, we get treated so bad by men, like so bad. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I've encountered some men that tried to do me fucking dirty. And I didn't do nothing to deserve it, nothing. But I've come to terms with the fact that a lot of men have gotten satisfaction of trying to break me down and belittle me. Whether it was because they was jealous or they wanted to diminish my worth so that nobody else could see me, I don't know, but it's weird as shit. Secondly, we go through it with other females so fucking bad. I'll link up with a girl and I'll be like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. She down to earth, like she a real one, And then a couple months down the line, I'm finding out that this bitch secretly hates me. I'm talking hates me. I've had guys that I'm cool with tell me about conversations he overheard that women were having about me in the same room as him. Not even digging, it's somebody over here to the far side of the room that know me. And we ain't even gonna get into the mistreatment that we experience from family members, all because they feel some type of way about what we look like. Realistically speaking, people only fall all over us online. In actuality, y'all fucking hate us. Granted, it's a lot of perks to being a pretty girl with a pretty heart, with a pretty attitude. But on the other hand, the weird shit that we have to deal with is not even worth trying to use that privilege. Most times I'm uninvited, I'm alone, I'm talked about, and I'm treated badly, where they try to treat me badly, because I'm not going for none of that shit. So all this pretty girl privilege shit that y'all rant and rave about, tell me what's really good, because I've experienced a whole nother side to the shit, and it's not cute.
Pretty privilege is so real. People will want to talk to you if you're good looking, but you're actually going to realize that pretty privilege is a double-edged sword. You start to kind of see the bad side of pretty privilege, especially when it comes to business. Number one is that people will naturally want to talk to you more. So you are going to get more leads coming to you in your business to make business deals. You're going to realize that all of these people coming to talk to you have no interest in actually setting up business, and they just want to talk to a pretty girl. And so what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to become really good at qualifying these buyers, and you're going to have to become some sort of a little bitch. And you're going to have to tell people like, sorry, but you're wasting my time. I gotta move on. Because time is money and you're wasting my time, which is wasting my money. But you guys, pretty privilege can be used as such a weapon if you know how to use it the right way. So if you want to learn how to use pretty privilege to your advantage rather than a disadvantage in sales and business, this is some of the stuff I teach my girls in my academy every single day. Link is in my bio to join my academy. Pretty privilege is a double-edged sword, and you only realize this.
I know we've all heard of pretty privilege, but today I want to talk about the cons of being like a conventionally attractive woman, especially in the workforce. So I'm just going to take you back to the beginning of like when I was 19 years old, I was going through dental school, and then when I tried to find a job, it took me 14 interviews to finally land a minimum wage job. And after a few months of being at that office, the older women in the office tried to get me fired behind my back for making makeup transition videos. And they went to my boss about it, and so I definitely left because like, what the fuck? I also remember interviewing at a dental lab when I was 19, and after 2 hours of making like this teeth model, they put me in a room of 5 different men and just like asked me questions, and every time I would answer, they would laugh, and at the end they told me that I would not be getting this job offer. I've been name called by employers in the past and just basically always treated different than my coworkers. And I literally think, well, I know it's because I just do my makeup a certain way and I take really good on my appearance, and I guess that really just pisses people off. After experience, I've literally learned to just wear the least amount of makeup if I'm going in for a job interview, if any at all, and I dress extremely modest. I'm talking like turtleneck, like long pants, like it's just exhausting. This is honestly the craziest thing I've ever had happen to me though. Earlier this year, I literally applied to a job and I was turned away because I was going to be too distracting for them in there. How is that even legal? But I know for a fact other women experience this as well, and so I really just wanted to share my experience with it because I'm so sick of being like almost, it is discrimination for the way I look. I'm sorry. I'm just so tired of feeling like I constantly have to prove myself and look a certain way for people to take me seriously in the workforce. This is why it's like my absolute dream to make content and work from home so I don't have to prove myself to anyone but myself and you guys, of course. This is a reminder to myself and anyone that needs to hear this. You are enough, you bring good things to the table, and you are worthy of great things and great opportunities. I was very hesitant about making this video. I wanted to for a long time, but I'm just afraid that people might get the wrong idea from it. So if you've had any similar experiences or you relate to this in any kind of way, please comment below. I want to hear who else out there is struggling with this and how you're dealing with it, because I could really use the support, honestly. But I love you all and know your worth. Have the best day ever. I'll see you later.
Today I'm going to explain pretty privilege because yes, I do experience pretty privilege, but there are tiers to pretty privilege and I'm on the lower tier. So pretty privilege has 3 tiers. There's entry level, 8 tier, and model status. So entry level pretty privilege includes all the girls that are a little bit above average looking, but they're not like the prettiest girls you've ever seen, but you would definitely consider them pretty. Being on this level gets you some privileges, like you can get free drinks at a bar, people want to help you if you're in need, people are generally nice to you, they give you the benefit of the doubt, and this is the category that I would put myself in. And to put this on the 1 through 10 scale, this would be the high 6s and the 7s. You're pretty enough to be treated well because of it, but you're not pretty enough to make a lifestyle out of it. So one level above that is what I call 8 tier, and that's your 8s of the world. And these girls are generally the prettiest girls in the room. They're the prettiest girls you see in real life on an average day. And these are the girls that draw attention because of how pretty they are. When you're on this level, you get all the privileges of entry level, but multiplied. Instead of being able to access benefits, you're getting offered benefits. So people will give you free drinks without even talking to you. People will give you free food. People will just give you free things, honestly. People flock around you. Either girls really want to be your friend or they're very jealous of you and they hate on you, and boys are very obsessed with you. You have the halo effect, which is where people think highly of you just because of the way that you look. It's not based on merit, but people will just think that you're nicer, you're funnier, you're smarter, all because of the way that you look. These girls are immediately likable because of how pretty they are, and they experience the world differently than everybody else does. And the final pretty privileged tier is model status. And that's going to be your 9s and 10s. These are going to be the people that you almost never see in real life. These are the people that you see on social media, that you see on your TV. These are models, these are celebrities, these are influencers. These people make a living off of how pretty they are. They have the halo effect times 1,000, and people want to do things for them just because of how pretty they are. They can get almost anything for free. They can get anywhere for free. They can get into the upper echelon of society just because of the way that they look. Now, why did I just explain all this? Because people like to comment on my videos saying, oh, the reason that happened to you, the reason that you got this thing, the reason that people were nice to you was pretty privilege. It has nothing to do with you and what you did. It's all about the way that you look. And while pretty privilege gets my foot in the door, I've learned how to maximize my pretty privilege by being socially adept and by surrounding myself with people that are prettier than me. Being an entry-level pretty privilege doesn't automatically mean that people are going to give me things or be nice to me because of the way that I look. But it does mean that because of the way that I look, I have the ability to manipulate them in specific ways to get a certain outcome and to get the things that I want from them. It's not a given, but being pretty is a tool that I can use to my advantage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you don't know me, I'm Vic and I'm a diagnosed psychopath, and I talk about being a psychopath on my page, so if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and follow along, and thanks for watching.